Hello all, welcome to my next video, and in today's video I want to talk to you about accepting orders on DoorDash, Ubereats, and GrubHub. The thing I want to talk about is when I first started with these platforms, I saw on the platforms that they tell you what your acceptance rate is, and basically what this means is it is a percentage of how many orders you are sent and how many of those orders you accept. So the acceptance rate is basically what percentage of orders are you sent that you actually accept to take. And when I first started, I thought that it was pretty much mandatory that you had to accept a majority of the orders that you sent to stay on the platform. And so I was pretty much, in the beginning, literally accepting everything. I was accepting $3 orders, $4 orders, $10 orders, anything that they sent me I was accepting. And after doing that for a little while, I just started realizing that I wasn't making money. I wasn't making the money that I needed to do the gigs, because it just wasn't paying me enough. And started looking into it a little bit, especially on YouTube, and started learning a little bit more about it, and I stopped accepting lowball orders. Because you're an independent contractor, that means that you do not work as an employee for these platforms. You basically are saying that if they offer you something, you'll take a look at it, and if it looks good to you, then you're going to accept it. If it doesn't, then you don't have to. They cannot penalize you for not accepting an order or not accepting a lot of orders. Again, when I first started, I thought I had to accept everything, and after realizing that I didn't, I became very, very selective on what I would accept, because I needed to make sure that I was going to get paid for the time, and I was also going to be paid for the miles that I was putting on my vehicle. I've talked about in other videos, if you accept a $3 order, let's say, and let's say it's going 3 miles, you have to understand that even though it's only going 3 miles, that you are driving from wherever you are to the restaurant. You have to get out of your vehicle and go to that restaurant, pick up the food, go back to your car, drive to the place where you're dropping it off, get back out of your car, drop it at the door or hand it to the customer, and then get back into your vehicle for your next one. Even if it is a very short distance, all that activity that you're going to be doing is going to be adding up time. And even if you get really good short orders, you're only going to be able to take about 3 to 4 orders an hour. So if you're accepting $3 orders, then you're only going to be making $9 to $12 an hour, because there's only so much that you can do in that hour. So if you think about it that way, you're not going to make any money with a $3 order at all. So the only time that I've had, since I've changed what I was doing, the only time that I've had a $3 order was once a few days ago. DoorDash sent me a stacked order, and it was $11 for a total of about 3.2 miles, and that looked really good. And when I dropped off the first one, which was only about 1.2 miles that I had to go, I realized that it was a $3 payout on that specific order. The guy that I delivered it to, he didn't put any tip on there at all. And the next one then ended up being $8 for another, I believe it was like 1.9 miles, and so that kind of compensated for the overall time that I spent delivering those 2 orders. So I wouldn't have accepted it if I knew that it was a $3 order outright, but the way that they sent it to me, I accepted it because it was $11 for 3.2 miles. Other than that, though, I don't accept those lowball orders. It's really, really important if you want to make the $25 to $35 an hour that we talk about. It's very, very important for you to accept only the orders that are going to get you there. And the only penalty that you will have, the only penalty overall on any of the platforms for not accepting is on GrubHub. They do, sometimes they do bonuses, but they say in their bonus that you have to accept a certain percentage of orders within a certain amount of time to be able to earn that bonus. So if you're trying for that bonus, you might consider accepting them, even if they're lower, but GrubHub typically doesn't send $3 and $4 orders anyway, so you might be able to make it work. Another thing that you need to consider on your acceptance rate is the actual miles that you're driving, because you're putting miles on your vehicle, and driving miles takes time. So when you're considering the miles, you really need to look at what the payout to the miles are. When I get an order sent to me, and let's say I see that it's a $10 order, but let's say that it's going 13 miles, that is a lot of miles, and if you're going 13 miles on $10, then you're not going to be making very good dollars per mile for that delivery. And you're going to also be adding to the time that you're having to do that order, so that might cause you to take up a half an hour of time, so that takes away another order from you. So you've got to really look at the miles to dollar ratio when you're thinking about your acceptance rate and accepting orders. Typically, I will not go below $1.50 per mile, and this is kind of a hard, fast rule. Right now for the year, I'm at $1.89 per mile. So really take a look at the dollars per mile when you get a delivery order sent to you. I'll give you a couple of examples. Last night, as a matter of fact, when I was doing my deliveries, I had 2 deliveries from Ubereats, and one went 12.3 miles and the other went 10.1 miles. The one that went 12.3 miles, they offered to pay me $21 to take that order, so I accepted it. It was a long drive, I understood that, but they were paying me $21, and it was going to take me about 45 minutes to complete that order. The other one that they sent me, it was 10.1 miles, and when they sent it to me, it was just over $19 that they offered me on it. So again, looking at the dollars per mile and the dollars to time, it was a really, really good fit for me to drive that 10 miles because I was able to make good dollars per hour and good dollars for time. So even though it was a long distance that they sent me, it was still something that was acceptable to me because the dollars to miles were very good and the dollars to time was very good. It might work in your marketplace, it might not with that amount of miles, depending on what your marketplace is. But my marketplace, I work in a big city, the second biggest city in Indiana, which is Fort Wayne, and my whole city is my marketplace. It's not segmented at all, and I can go wherever I want in that marketplace. So even if I have to drive far, I know where the good spots are throughout the city, so I take a look at where the drop-off is, and if it dumps me in a good spot to pick up more orders, I will take those longer orders because I know I can get more orders. So you really got to know your marketplace and analyze your marketplace if you want to accept those longer mile deliveries, but you can make a lot of money on them if you work them the right way. So take that in consideration when you're thinking about your acceptance of an order and how far you're willing to drive for those orders. If it doesn't fit, if it doesn't work in your marketplace, then don't accept them. If it does, then do, because you can make a lot of money at it. So with your acceptance rate, that is the second most important thing that you've got to look at. So right now on the different platforms, I want to tell you what my acceptance rate is, just to give you an idea. On DoorDash, I typically will accept anywhere from 15 to 30% of what they send me, because they send me a lot of low offers, and they also send me a lot of high mile offers that aren't going to pay me what I need to be able to take those orders. So typically on DoorDash, I sit somewhere between 15 and 30%, depending on the day, because sometimes with peak pay, I will take more orders with them because I'm going to make the dollars, and I'm going to make the dollars per mile that I want on the platform, so I will accept a little bit more. On GrubHub, I'm sitting right around usually 30 to 40% is what I accept on GrubHub. And again, this is typically because GrubHub likes to send you offers that are a little bit better than DoorDash, but they also like to send you very far to deliver those orders. And because GrubHub doesn't put the miles on the app when they send you an offer, you've really got to know your marketplace so that you can see where you're going and see where you're dropping off, so you can guesstimate how far that actually is. So really know your marketplace on GrubHub. On Ubereats, I'm typically between about 75 to 85% acceptance rate, because in my marketplace, Ubereats pays me well to take the orders that they send me, and I will accept a majority of what they send me. Most of the time when I decline something on Ubereats, it's more because I am on a delivery for another platform and I just cannot get to their offer in time to make sense to pick it up on time and deliver on time to their customers. So that's typically why I'm declining on Ubereats. Sometimes they do send me a lower offer that I'm just like, no, I'm not going to take that. I decline it for that reason, but a majority of the time it's because I'm busy with something else on another platform. That's another thing that I want to talk to you about too. I've talked to you about multi-apping, and to make the most money doing these food delivery gigs, you really have to be running more than one app at a time so you can get the best offers throughout your whole shift when you're working your marketplace. If you don't do that, then you're not going to make the money that you could if you were working more than one platform. In your marketplace, you know, I've always said that Ubereats is my cash cow where I am, but in your marketplace, it might be DoorDash or it might be GrubHub. So you always start with your best performing platform and see what they have to offer, and then go to your next one, and then go to your next one, so that you can see what the best offers are that you can get for that shift. Typically, I'll start with Ubereats, and then I will also turn on GrubHub, and if they're not sending me things that I want, then I'll throw on DoorDash and I'll see what they have to offer me. If Ubereats and GrubHub is sending me a lot of good stuff, then I won't turn on DoorDash because they are my lowest paying app that I use. So I always focus on the two main ones, and then if they're slow, then I'll turn on the other one. So keep that in mind when you're out here doing the food delivery gigs. I know there's a lot of people that only work one platform, and if that works for you, that's cool. But in my experience and from what I've seen from other YouTubers, working multiple apps is the best way to make the most amount of money while you're out there doing these food delivery gigs. So now I want to talk to you about some of the stats that are important and that you do need to keep high. On all the platforms, you get rated by your customers, and your customer rating is pretty important. it will get you deactivated on the platforms if that rating falls below a certain threshold. I believe on DoorDash it's 4.2. I'm not sure what it is on Ubereats or GrubHub. So you always want to make sure that you're keeping your customer satisfaction rate up, and that's pretty simple to do. Even if you just follow and do what the apps tell you to do when you're going through your food delivery, it's pretty easy to keep those high. You also want to make sure that you keep the food warm, so always put it in a hot bag, and you always want to deliver it within a timely manner and get it there when the app expects that it should be there. So customer satisfaction is a rating that you want to pay attention to. Another really important number is your completion rate, and what this rate is this is the number of times that you accept an order from one of the platforms, and then for whatever reason you have to give that order back. In other words, you have accepted it and then something comes up and you go onto the app and say you can't take that order after you've accepted it. On your acceptance rate on DoorDash, if you fall below 80%, you can be deactivated. Again, on Ubereats and GrubHub, I'm not sure what the actual number is. The only time I ever give an order back is when I am multi-apping. If I accept an order and then another order comes in on a different platform that's a much better fit, in other words, it's paying me a lot more, or the miles are a lot less, I will go on to the platform that I had originally accepted that order, and then I will give it back. I don't do this very often, and I do it very selectively because, again, that completion rate is very important. If you have a very low completion rate, then you're literally doing something wrong. You shouldn't be giving back orders on a regular basis that you've accepted to take. If you're having that problem, you need to figure out what the reason is, and you need to fix that problem. The other one is your on-time or early rate. Again, DoorDash shows you on there what your on-time or early rate is, and when you accept an order, it tells you when the order should be delivered by. This means that by the time you go to pick up the order and then you deliver it, it should be done within the time period that the platform has given you. Now, I will say that sometimes you are going to run into situations out of your control, whether it be the weather, or maybe you get to a restaurant and they're just slammed, so they're taking longer to complete orders, and this is not something that's going to affect your on-time or early rate. The platforms, they know about the weather. I'm up in the Midwest, so when we get a snowstorm and we have to drive half the miles per hour that is posted, they know this, so that they will take this into consideration, and they won't ding me for being a little bit late because I'm having to drive slower to be safe. Again, when you go to the restaurants and let's say they are taking a long time to get that order to you, you can actually go on the platforms and you can let the platforms know it's taking a long time to get the order, or you can say on DoorDash it has the order still being prepared when I got here, or you can say on DoorDash that the order wasn't started till I got here, whatever the case might be as to why you're not getting that order. You can let them know, which is why on all the apps, on Ubereats it does not, but on GrubHub and DoorDash you let them know when you arrive, and then you let them know when you got the order and are then leaving, so that they know that you were at the restaurant waiting on that order to get to you. And if it gets to the customer later because of those reasons, that's not going to affect your completion rate. Basically, once you pick up that order and you get in your vehicle to take it, that's when the on-time or early rate will start coming into effect. So make sure you're going right to that customer and getting it to them by the time that the app suggests, unless you run into some extenuating circumstance that you can't. But your on-time or early rate should be decent. It's not going to be perfect. There's traffic, there's accidents, and there's other things that will affect it. But make sure that a majority of the time you're taking care of that on-time or early rate. And you only get dinged, I believe it's about 5 minutes after it's supposed to be there is when you'll get dinged on that rate. So keep that in mind when you're out there making those deliveries. So keep in mind that when you're out here doing these food delivery gigs and you're out here trying to earn money, you're out here trying to earn your money. You're trying to earn money for you and your family. And only accept those orders that are going to get you where you need to be. Don't worry if you decline orders, because they get passed on to the next drivers and they get the offer. And worst case scenario, the app has to offer more money for that order to be taken if everyone declines it. So make sure that you're focused on what you need and what you are trying to earn out there, and accept only those orders that are going to get you those dollars. So acceptance rate, make it what it is, and accept those orders only when they fit your strategy. I hope you really enjoyed today's topic, and I hope you learned a lot. Make sure you do pay attention to those other things that I talked about, the customer satisfaction, the completion rate, the on-time and early rate. But don't be so worried if you see that the acceptance rate is in the red, because it's not going to affect the orders that you get sent, and it's not going to affect what you make. You'll actually make more if you are more selective. Some people are against cherry picking, and kudos to them, and that's for them. But you really have to pick what you need to make the money that you need to make. I'd like to ask you to subscribe to my channel, and I'd also like to ask you to like this video. And if you know anyone that can use the advice that I'm sharing on my channel, make sure that you share this video with other people so that they can see it. Have a great day, and thanks.